And the big story this morning, crackdown on the leakers. You remember a couple months ago, President Trump put the pressure on Attorney General Jeff Sessions.
Go find him.
We have got to figure out where these leaks are coming from. So breaking this morning, James A. Wolfe, he was a former Senate Intel Panel Security Director, has had that job, seen right there, for 29 years. He's now being indicted for allegedly lying to the FBI at least 3 times, that we are being told.
That's right. He was the director of security at the Senate Intel Committee staff level. So he knew all the secrets. And as it turns out, he had a 3-year romantic relationship with a young woman. It started out when she was an intern at a news service, and eventually she went to work for BuzzFeed, McClatchy, Politico. She is currently at the New York Times, and apparently they've been the Justice Department seized her phone records, put it all together. It looks like he has been leaking to her, and when he was asked about it by the FBI says he's lying.
Yeah, Brian, tens of thousands of pages between these two, and one name that comes up in a story that she reported on?
Carter Page.
Yeah.
Why not? He's a part of everything. There he is. You know, he was never accused of doing anything wrong, by the way. They just decided to get a bunch of FISA warrants to follow him around. And now we find out that the story about him in 2013 going to Russia, Ali Watkins got that. It looks as though, the story goes, that Wolfe is the one who told Watkins about it when she was at BuzzFeed. Now, in February, New York Times was informed that we took her phone records.
Right.
The Justice Department took it through a grand jury subpoena and other legal process. Now, many journalists are out there saying that's a little bit scary, that, you know, you could be covering a story and a subpoena could go out to get your phone records. We need to find out more about how that happened, but we know that it stems from a guy that for 30 years, while everyone was voted in and out and moved in and out of committees, he was there and knew everything.
And that is why it's so hard, Steve, to figure out who these leakers are. Because why are you going to go look at this guy and say, oh, he's been there 30 years, he must be up to trouble, right? It's the deep state that oftentimes is the problem.
The permanent government. He's been there for close to 30 years until he suddenly left at the conclusion of last year. Apparently, according to documents we've seen, he was also talking to one other reporter. We don't know the identity of the other reporter, but nonetheless, this is one of the people who, according to this indictment, was leaking information, classified information, to make the Trump folks look bad.
This may be one of many that come to the surface, because this is the beginning of what we're seeing from Attorney General Jeff Sessions, of the effort that he is now taking to figure out where these leaks are coming from. Who knows how many more are out there, Brian, because this is just, you mentioned Carter Page, that's one of so many leaks that have happened so far in this administration.
Right. I mean, this is the beginning. What more they know, they haven't told us yet. But right now, he's in trouble, not necessarily for leaking. It's alleged he leaked, but he definitely lied. He lied about that relationship when they showed him a picture of them together. He said, all right, that is me. Yep, I was in contact. Now you do reverse forensics on these stories that were breaking in these BuzzFeed, New York Times, Politico stories, and you say, well, how do they get that, Mr. Wolfe?
Well, keep in mind, it's not against the law for the reporter to get the information. It's against the law to leak out classified information. One of the text messages that was released was from him to his former girlfriend. Said, you know, I always tried to give you as much information as I could, and I'm kind of paraphrasing here, so you could get the scoop before everybody else. So while they do cite the Carter Page story that was highlighted in BuzzFeed, you got to wonder, how many other stories could this guy, part of the deep state, have put out there to make other people look bad, or just because he wanted to get the word out? What was going on?
How many other leakers like this guy are out there?
I would love a world, and I would love a show when I don't have to say Papadopoulos and Carter Page.
Nobody said Papadopoulos. Tell you just did.
No, that blew it. What am I thinking?
At least you said it right. You actually pronounced it right this morning.
Larger than that, though, so many of these leaks, obviously, over the last 18 months, have simply been out there to make the president look bad. And you could see it about a year ago, where he was tanking in the approval ratings, but a brand new Fox News poll shows that the president has rebounded. In February of 2017, his approval rating was at 48%. Now it's back up to 45%, which is better than the underwater level it was. And a lot of people seem to be impressed with how he's doing his job and the possibility that he could actually do a deal with North Korea in a couple of days.
This poll came out last night, our Fox News poll, and one of the biggest numbers that came out of that poll was, as you mentioned, Steve, the handling of North Korea. 66% of the American people, according to our Fox News poll, approve of him having conversations with Kim Jong-un. And you look at the economy, 52% approve of President Trump's handling of the economy. So we are in a place where you see most of the country, Brian, over 50% are feeling positive about the big stories of the day.
Well, I have an overarching view. Robert Mueller and the Mueller probe was beating down on the president's numbers. Like it seems the pattern with President Clinton, it's beginning to boomerang. The Robert Mueller probe has dropped 5 points in popularity, and the president seems to be powering through it with his new philosophy of how to handle it, led by Rudy Giuliani. And I would say this: if you want Democrats to drop it, like they dropped the word impeachment when it started negative, you continue to see his poll numbers go up, and they'll realize we got a problem. We can't put down the economy because people are feeling it, and the numbers don't lie. It's not an opinion. And then the whole Mueller-Russia thing, people are really getting fed up with it.
But you know what? Ultimately, the Democrats will not drop it until the Mueller probe is over. They're going to ride this right through November if the probe is not done. However, you know, a couple of weeks ago we heard it could be done by Labor Day. Is that just a pipe dream? Don't know, but there's nothing to suggest that they have found anything regarding Russia collusion. That's where it all started.
Yeah.
The obstruction of justice thing, that has been poo-pooed by many as well. So, Mr. Mueller, what do you got? We're ready to see.
We also know that the IG report, big news, is coming out next Thursday.